Maine Knows How. Brought to you by A&G Shooting, Modern Woodmen of America, Mainly Handrails, Pine Grove Programs, Digital Spirit Media, and J.W. Parks Golf Course. Maine Knows How.
Welcome to the chaos that is Maine Knows How, May edition. We have Wyatt, we have Bob. We'll have a guest later on, but we're starting to really get geared up for a lot of things, Bob.
We have a lot of events coming up.
Yes, we do. We just had one finish
We did.
in April, which was the Tin Boat Derby.
Tin Boat Derby.
Yeah.
We went off to Vermont and brought a bunch of Vietnam guys fishing on Lake Champlain with great success. It's really unique to bring those gentlemen that are late 80s fishing. And it's what they look forward to the whole year.
Right.
They are so excited. You can't even believe how excited they are to go fishing and hook into a 10 or 12 pound lake trout. And
You brought back the same number you took out.
most of the time, we had some trophies made for who caught the biggest fish,
Right.
and they all caught the biggest fish, so we bought them all a trophy.
I mean, this is the fourth or fifth year in a row.
Yeah, a couple times
You
we've
guys have been doing that for a while.
My friend Kyle Scanlon
Yep.
lives there, and he keeps an eye on what the weather's going to be, and we go for a couple days, and it's a really quite unique. Them
He gets
guys.
the fish all trained for us.
Gets them all trained in the right spot,
Yeah.
and you just go and it's like shooting fish in the proverbial barrel.
Sort of. Sort of.
Only it was that easy.
But we really hear some unique stories from these gentlemen.
Right.
They were in Nam for 5 years before we even declared war.
Yep.
And one gentleman says, I've jumped out a helicopter 7 times in Laos at night at 400 feet.
Well, we were never in Laos, Bob. Come on.
Yeah. One was a rat.
Oh, that was Cambodia.
Yeah.
Never in Cambodia.
Yeah. So they share a lot of pretty unique stories with us. And it's really a great time. It's a long ways, a 6.5 hour drive to get there, and then drive back the next day. But it's really worth it.
Yeah.
To see how much they look forward to
And
it.
awesome. And the appreciation level that they have,
It's incredible.
it brings a tear to your eye, some of the stories I've heard in the past.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a couple more things coming up. We have the Sportsman's Challenge.
Yeah. That's
Coming up. That's June 28th, and maybe you guys can explain a little bit more about that.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
Yeah. Last year was great. It's a challenge. It's kind of everything we could think of that involves the outdoors. We have things like knife throwing, axe throwing, shooting, fly casting, spin casting, and a bunch of other challenges.
So for everybody out there, the Sportsman's Challenge is you'll actually buy an entrance ticket to this, and there'll be a number of events that you will receive scores for.
Yep.
And and we do it by some age groups and things along that line. And whoever has the highest score is the Maine Sportsman of the Year for their category.
Right. We have women's, kids, and men. And it's quite challenging.
Yep.
It's harder than they think.
Yep.
Yeah. And,
You might be great at you might be great at axe throwing, but you might not be the best at shooting
Right.
or spin casting or fly casting. So you really have to be really good at everything to excel.
So this is going to be in Pittsfield
J.W. Parks,
at J.W. Parks, June 28th. It's a one-day event.
one-day event. We have speakers, Lanny Benoit
Lanny Benoit is going to be there, everybody.
and Rick
Labby.
Yep, and Randy Flannery. And a whole bunch of Jerry Levine will be there and talk about deer and coyotes, and Seth Edwards will be there, and there's 3 pro golfers that are there. So if it's at a golf place, if you have any golf questions, those guys can answer any of your questions. And Wyatt will be doing a fly fishing seminar, and Ed Muzzerall will be doing a fly tying to have all these kids there tying and lots of different stuff.
It's going to be a baked bean competition
Baked bean and an apple pie.
and an apple pie competition.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nobody need enter the big bean competition, because we will win that. My family will win that with our recipe.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Heard that a couple times now.
Yeah.
Mary Collar gave it a good shot last time.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. This is going to be our second time doing that, and really encourage everybody to get out there. This is for people of all ages. It's a really fun day, and JW Parks really is a great supporter of our program, Pine Grove programs, and this is really something that we hope to be a core event that we do every year, but we need your support for that. So show up. There'll be more information on our website about that, so feel free to go online and check that out. And we have other events.
We have a fishing derby during that same event for children.
Ah.
Yeah, and we did it last year, and it's the length of the fish. That's all. And the police department come and put it all on. Work with us to do it. They shut the bridge right down. Or this year we're going to stock a pond.
Right.
And so that kind of thing. So bring your kids, even though they've never been fishing. They'll have somebody there to mentor them and help them out.
Yep. We also, in early June 13th, I believe it is, we have, around that time, the Allagash canoe trip.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to understand this Allagash trip. We're going about 100
miles.
About 100 miles. Takes up to a week, but the program puts it on. And again, veterans, law enforcement, first responders. This year, we've expanded it to spouses.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Because law enforcement and first responders, they spend enough time away from their spouses and their families to be able to do this with your spouse as just the two of you getting away. And you're going out into the wilderness. I mean, you've been guiding us for the past couple of years, haven't you, Wyatt?
Yeah. It's a blast. Yeah. And there's not many places that you can go for 100 miles and never see another paved road or another person sometimes.
You'll see a couple houses, but they'll be for wardens.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's about it. You'll see a railroad.
Yeah, once or twice.
Steam engine in the middle of the woods that was active 100 years ago.
Right, you're looking at train tracks that have trees that are 2 feet thick going up through the middle of them. It's
just amazing, this trip. I encourage people. We're pretty much booked for this year.
I think we have one opening or two maybe this year, but they'll fill up, and it's really in Wyatt guides it and David Robinson.
Yep.
And we have all the canoes, and all the food is all high quality stuff. We don't have
delicious.
We don't bring.
We're not talking freeze dried meals.
No. There's no suffering.
No.
Maybe paddling a little bit. Might need some aspirin.
You can, and you can suffer a little bit with the weather. We've had some years with weather. I think we're a little bit later this year to get a little bit warmer. Which is, I think, a good move. And then of course, in July, we have the Lobster Bake in Belgrade, Maine. And if anybody is watching that is going to be in our area, the Belgrade area, we have a Lobster Bake in Belgrade and an auction that follows. And this is really one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. So if you've got a generous spirit and you want to have some fun and have some great lobster, really make an effort to check out the website. We'll be selling tickets out there that you can sign up for. There are a limited number that we can really fit at this location, but it's a lot of fun. And this will be our fourth year, I think.
Fourth or fifth year,
Fourth or fifth year doing that.
And we're so lucky to have you and your wife host this at their home. And it is incredible.
Belgrade Lakes, there's no place like the lakes. So it's wonderful. So we have that going. So we had a lot of little things.
We have doing a fly fishing class as well, June 2nd. So I'm still looking for more people if they want to do it. We got plenty of openings and stuff. So that's always fun.
Anyway, we've got more to follow. We'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks.
Maine Knows How is brought to you by Modern Woodmen of America, a member-owned fraternal financial services organization since 1883, and by Pine Grove Programs, supporting veterans, first responders, and law enforcement by providing free outdoor opportunities to those who serve, have served, and their families.
Welcome back to the main edition. The main edition.
Oh, Hunstock.
Yeah, Hunstock. Welcome back to Maine Knows How, May edition. Today's guest is Patrick Guyette, and he is the main energy behind Huntstock down in Massachusetts. It's been going on for a few years, and we're going to have him explain what Huntstock is. But first, Bob, I mean, if you could give a little bit of a pitch for it, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely. I had a chance to go there and experience it. And any sportsman that likes to hunt or fish should take the time to go there and see this. This is really an event that you would really enjoy. You will learn so much about deer hunting in a day or two just by going to listen to the seminars and see all the people that are there. It's really incredible that nobody's ever done this before. And Pat put this together, and it's really, really a learning event for a lot of young kids that would have to read this book and that book and this book. They can go in one day and get so much knowledge. So
Right.
Thank you for doing that, Pat. This whole hunting community thanks you for putting this together.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I mean, when I started it, it was all about bringing that community feel back to the Northeast. And in hunting, sometimes in the community, you can have one group pitted against another group, or one style of hunting is harder than the other, and there can be these little competitions between hunting groups and styles. And we really wanted Huntstock to showcase every style of hunting that there is out there and break down any walls that might be built up between groups, or the community's rallied around it, and it's been an awesome time. Been doing it for 3 years, and to see the growth and see the things that people make connections there. They become lifelong friends. They become hunting buddies.
Right.
And you can really feel, it's rewarding to feel the community kind of advancing and getting benefit from it. So it's been a joy for sure.
So Patrick, when is Huntstock?
Yeah, Huntstock. So we started one in New York last year too. That's the first one of the year. There's one in New York in Vernon Center, July 11th. Through the 13th. They're 3-day festivals. And then the Massachusetts one, which is our flagship, that's where we started. That's August 8th through the 10th.
And these are outdoor staged events at farms.
Yep. Yeah.
But there's tents and there's cover. So if there's some sprinkles or rain, it's still going to go on.
Oh yeah, we've got plenty of canopy coverage in case there's rain. But yeah, like just to back it up a little bit, I mean, anything I've done in my life is I want it to be unique. I'm not the kind of guy that would buy a McDonald's franchise and have to work within the bounds of a formula that's been proven. I always want to do something a little bit different. And so with Huntstock, everything is by design. We do it in the summer rather than in the winter when most sportsman shows are. We want to be out in the open air. We want to be on family farms, people who are hunters themselves. And so it feels less like a business enterprise, and it's more like, just being here, being at an outfitter, being in a deer camp. So yeah, it's in the summertime, open air, beautiful farms. We've got the expo part of it. People will pop up tents, we've got big wedding style tents that provide canopy cover in case it rains. Last year was the first time it did rain. We were waiting for a year. We had, two beautiful summer stretches the first couple of years, and we were due for some rain. We got some last year, but we have plenty of canopy cover, and honestly it kind of added to the event. We're all hunters. We're all used to being in the elements, and what's a little bit of rain at a hunting event? It didn't didn't damper the event at all.
It just felt right.
Yeah, it felt awesome.
Yeah.
You were telling me earlier about getting sponsors back engaged in Northeast hunting.
Yep.
And I found that kind of surprising that the big hunting sponsors really went elsewhere for a while.
Yeah, I think you know, there was a time where there were a lot of sportsman shows that did have all the big hunting sponsors, but over the last, you know, decade, 15 years, you've seen a lot of the big brands leave the Northeast. And one of our goals was to, you know, build an energizing event that uplifts all of us Northeastern hunters and the traditions that, you know, we've got the oldest hunting tradition in the country.
Yeah.
Everything started here. Western hunting came later as we moved across the country west. The deepest hunting traditions in the Northeast. And so one of the goals was to bring that energy back here, which will then show those bigger brands that it's worth it to come across the country and speak to and fraternize and hang out with the Northeastern hunters again. So we've been seeing a lot of that over the years. We've had Moultrie come and Vortex and Kuiu, you know, Quiet Cat, and a lot of these brands that just weren't here, but they've come to Huntstock and they've got a lot of benefit out of it. And you know, I think we're kind of in the Northeast. It takes a little while for us to get to trust somebody, and the Northeastern, you know, hunters, when they see those brands traveling all that distance and making a big effort, they reward those companies with their patronage, you know.
Mm-hmm. So you'll have three stages going at a time.
Yep.
And with seminars and things. And
Yep. We built it kind of like a music festival style. So if any young people are watching this, like, you know, like the Lollapaloozas and the, you know, Woodstock, it really is where the Huntstock name came from, is Woodstock, you know, the music festival that started it all.
Hopefully the sanitary conditions are a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a lot better. Yep. So we have three seminar places, 2 big stages that we build. And the third seminar location is inside an outfitter tent, but those will be running simultaneously the entire length of the show each day. There will be 3 live seminars happening. You can look at the schedule and, you know, find out who you want to go see or what you want to learn about and plan your day out. Because we'll post the schedules, you know, a few weeks before the show, and you can really look at it and say, I want to make sure I hit these 3 seminars. Right. Mm-hmm. It's all about experiences too. Like we want it to be an experience. If you go to some sportsman shows these days, it's, you know, the experience feels almost like you're just walking up and down, you know, the aisles and maybe buying a thing or two and then you leave, you know, after being there for an hour. But we have so much going on that you can't, there's no way you would come for just an hour. So what we find is people come when the doors open in the morning, and they'll stay the entire day. And at the end of the day, there's still things that they wanted to be able to see and experience. So they'll come back the next day or buy a 3-day pass or something. And we just want it to be an experience, you know. Everything is about that attendee's experience and having it be unique and unlike anything they've been to before.
Well, you were explaining to me earlier that, you know, in the Northeast, there's really been a growing need for mentors for those who want to learn how to hunt. And that's one of the gaps that you're trying to fill. And I was really interested in what you had to say about, you know, getting a deer that was farm raised and basically, if you could walk us through the process of what happens with that.
Yeah, that's one of our cool experiences that we do that just kind of came about the first year and everybody loved it. So we do it every year now. We get a farm raised deer. Mass Wildlife will get that deer. It's freshly killed. They bring it to the farm and they'll go through a whole field dressing demonstration, you know. And Hunstock is a mix of diehard hunters, veteran hunters, have tons of experience, all the way down to we get a lot of these first time hunters that are just getting into it as an adult. They didn't have mentors or grow in a family that had that tradition. So they're super green, and a field dressing demonstration for them is like, it's amazing. I look around as there'll be 40, 50 people watching this field dressing demonstration, and saw a couple of Chinese guys from Chinatown in Boston, who had reached out to me before as their first year hunting, and they were excited to come, and they had their notepads and they're taking notes, and it's cool to the veteran guys aren't going to sit around and watch how to field dress. It's not interesting to them. But for their kids or for a new hunter, you get to see it from start to finish. And then after they field dress, we've got Doug from the cutting barn.
This is key, because you're taking people through, as you were saying, a green hunter, somebody who's just starting, and you're showing them how to field dress, but then you're taking it to the next step, and then to the next step after that.
Yep. With field dressing, right to Doug. Doug takes them through a whole meat processing demonstration. They skin it, debone it, and then how educates people on the different cuts and how you cut them and how you would package them. But then after the whole deer's processed, we then fire up the grills, and everybody gets free fresh venison. And a lot of people, some of those green hunters, those guys, they might not have ever had venison before, so they get a nice piece of venison hot off the grill, and they're already starting to feel this tradition and why we all love it so much. Because once you get your first taste of venison, you're hooked for life.
Where else do you get that experience?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it takes years for somebody to shoot a deer and then learn to dress it, and then go right through the whole thing all in one day. And some of the food that's there is incredible.
Oh yeah.
You had some really good people that had a lot of nice setups there for people to eat. There's places to sleep if you bring your camper, and
oh yeah, it's really cool. But right after that, after they eat the venison, we've got United blood trackers there, and they'll take some blood from that deer and the hooves, and lay a scent trail. Utilizing the farm, they'll lay a half-mile scent trail, and then anybody who wants to follow along, they take the leash dog and watch it work, and how it goes through the woods to recover wounded game, and that's another 45-minute cool, hands-on, experiential opportunity to see how a leashed dog can help you recover wounded game. And in Massachusetts, it's illegal. You're not allowed to use dogs to find wounded game, but because of what we've been doing there, and it's been in close contact with mass fish and game, they're a part of the whole thing. They're coming to through that experience and being close to it. I think we're going to see in the next few years that they're going to open up and allow leashed dog tracking to help recover wounded game. So it actually is making some impact too, through legislation and stuff. So
some of the best stories I've heard Bob tell really was not about the hunt of the animal itself, but tracking it after you shot it, and some of the ordeals. I mean, it really is a huge part of the hunt is finding it.
We owe that to the animal. Not to harvest something and not find it.
We do.
And so it's really a good thing. And there's a lot of people that might say, hey, I might not like to hunt, but I'd like to get a dog and do that. And that service might be something they might pick up and do.
Oh yeah, the guys that own leash,
they love them.
Tracking, that's their hunting season. They can't wait to help somebody recover game.
Right.
Yep, you become a part of that story.
Right.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest parts about Hunstock is that there's a lot of different kinds of hunters. Like you have the bow hunting guys, you have the rifles, you have the trackers, and they all do different things, and they all do things differently, and they all know little bits of information that the others might not know. And so, like we were talking about before there might have been some competition between them, or there's some disagreements or something, and coming together and actually being able to go from one seminar to the next and see all of the different viewpoints and experience that they all have is really valuable, especially for the new people who are coming in and they're not really sure how they want to hunt.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you can go, this guy's saying I do it like that, this guy's talking like this, and you can kind of work through and say, oh, okay, I like this kind of hunting, or I like doing it this way. And you get to see a lot of different viewpoints and how people do different things.
Yeah.
As an outfitter, we have very few trackers here. They'd have to be young, or sort of. You'd be in good shape, be able to hit a deer on the run, and have the firearm to do that. We, as an outfitter, we put people in stands so they don't have to do that.
Right.
And we do all the work. We do it year-round. All winter, me and Wyatt are setting blinds, and Jeffrey, and working on that so they can be successful when they come. So it's.
But some people come and they want to track.
We do.
Right.
When we have that.
Right.
We have that.
Have that option.
Yeah.
Right.
A whole different strategy, a whole different. I mean, we've had Lanny on before talk us about the strategy of tracking.
Yeah.
Just a different game completely.
As a outfitter years ago, I used to offer a one-on-one hunt, and all my hunts were rattling. I would just rattle and grunt call, and then we would go from place to place, and I had them all set up. I knew exactly where I was going to go, where these bedding areas were. I did my research on them does. I know it's what lives in this general vicinity, and them bucks are going to them does. They might not come today, they might not come tomorrow, but they're coming. There ain't no doubt. And if I can work the wind right in the right place, we can be successful, and we have for 25 years, but we never really promoted that type of hunt. But we're going to promote that a little bit more for Wyatt to utilize.
Yeah. But Patrick, the seminars you have going on, you'll have different levels of presentations to different types of hunters.
Yeah, we really, it's we've got a lot of trackers and still hunters. We've got the Lanny Benoits and Hal Blood and Joe DeNito and Rick Labby and the really top.
These are must see guys.
Yeah, the top trackers in the Northeast and probably the country, doing seminars, and then we'll get the top bow hunters too, because two totally different ball games, and even within bow hunting. Hunting suburban urban deer like you used to do, versus, bow hunting in the big woods or bow hunting there's so many different subsets. So we try to really find speakers that hunt in every different way. So there's something for everybody. And this year we're really happy that Dan Infault, who is known as the Hunting Beast, he's really a character and a really awesome hunter. He's coming from Wisconsin to do seminars all 3 days. John Eberhardt's coming to do seminars all 3 days, another really well-known bow hunter and very successful hunting pressured deer. So he's like pressured deer hunter. Infault is, loves swamps and getting in deep into the swamps, and
it takes all kinds
up to his chest in water, and he does all kinds of different things. And then Barry Wenzel, who you guys probably know. Barry,
Absolutely.
Yeah, what a great guy. He's coming. So these guys never been to a Northeastern. Barry's probably done a couple Northeastern shows back in the day, but Infault, Eberhardt, never been to the Northeast. It'll be their first time, and really it's top of the top from different parts of the hunting world, and tactics wise, they all do different things. So this year is going to be the best year we've had so far. It's the best seminar lineup we've ever had.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. So if folks want to get tickets online, can they go to your website?
Yeah.
And what is that?
Yeah, they can go to the website huntstockevents.com, www.huntstockevents.com. Well, I'll make a special code for people that listen to it through you guys. We'll make it Maine knows how, no spaces.
Right.
And they can get 10% off tickets if they punch that code in. And you can get tickets at the door too. It's in the summer. I know sometimes people don't know what they're going to have going on for the weekend. So if your weekend frees up and you can make it, just show up. You can get tickets at the door too.
But you'll have a lot of information on that website about where it is, how to get there, the map to it. And
everything's on there. It'll have all the seminar speakers, their schedule, door prizes. Another big thing we do is, I was going to a bunch of shows, and you'd see, when you get into the show, there's a door prize or two. And and 20,000 people, and there's like 1 or 2 door prizes you can win. And I was like, let's flip that on its head. We get 3,000 to 4,000 people that come to our show, but we give away like 200 prizes throughout the weekend, and $40,000 worth of stuff, from optics to guns to bows, hunts. We give away a lot of things, and that's the end of each day of our show. That's the end. It culminates with 1,000 people standing around the stage with their door prize tickets that they get when they buy a ticket to come into Hunstock. Everybody gets a door prize and has a chance to win cool stuff. So that's kind of how the show ends, and then we do after parties and live music. Drinking, dancing, whatever. It's a fun time, just like you'd be at deer camp.
I mean, so bringing your camper and spending a weekend there or a couple days is really a happening thing.
Yep. In New York, we've got on-site camping open for attendees. They can rent campsites there. It's a 500-acre shooting preserve out there, a beautiful property. The Massachusetts show, there's no camping open to the attendees, but vendors and stuff can camp out there. But there's plenty of campgrounds nearby, and there's hotels and stuff. So a lot of people will bring their campers down and park it at a campground that's 10, 20 minutes away and make a weekend out of it.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about one of the things that is so good about Huntstock is really it's a cultural history lesson, and it's continuing a culture going forward. And as Bob was saying, in Maine, hunting licenses and permits and all that have gone down, but they've risen more recently, and it's primarily because why? Women
started hunting.
Yeah.
More kids are hunting, and every year we try to bring 20 to 30 kids rabbit hunting. Well, those become deer hunters,
right?
So it's just. But everybody does it now.
So these seminars are ideal for beginners.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're a woman who is interested in hunting, your mentor may have been your dad or a brother. But this is also a great way to catch up and fill in a lot of the gaps. To really understand the process, the whole process of the hunt.
Yeah. And kind of on that note too, we want the show to be able to bridge generational gaps. Whereas, in typical shows, when I was doing all my research and trying to plan how to build the business model, it was a lot of Lanny and Randy and the legends of the game, and rightfully so, that are up there giving seminars. But we do that and need that, and that helps bridge the gap and show some of these young kids who might not know who those guys are because they're on YouTube or they're listening to podcasts, and their hunting celebrity might be a 30-year-old guy that's been posting things for 10 years. And so we do a lot of content creators, YouTubers, podcasters will be doing seminars too. So there's something for that younger generation that appeals more to them.
And I think it's neat because you'll have presentations from people who are hunting in the Northeast. I mean, you can watch a YouTube about hunting wild boar in Texas from a helicopter. This is a little bit different. So that's just really fantastic. We're really excited about it. Anything that we can do to promote this event for you, we are on board. But Patrick, thank you for making it out today. And we'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks.
Maine Knows How is brought to you by J.W. Parks Golf Course in Pittsfield, a 9-hole facility with a full-service pro shop and driving range offering daily fee golf and membership opportunities. And by A&G Shooting, a brick-and-mortar gun shop offering firearms training and 100% customer satisfaction. And by Digital Spirit Media, providing over 30 years of technical expertise in media production and event production services.
Welcome back to Maine Knows How, May edition. If you want to learn more about Patrick Guyette and his what he does, what he's all about, please feel free to check out his podcast at Hunt Suburbia Podcast on YouTube. I think you'll find it very enjoyable, and he's got a lot of good stuff out there. So we thank Patrick for making it up to the Great White North for that. And with that, we have Wyatt here with this month's how-to.
Yeah, so this month's how-to, we've been talking a lot about deer hunting and stuff. I want to bring it. We've been fishing as well.
Yes.
And so I want to talk about early season fishing.
Yes.
And a lot of people are trolling right now. They're dragging bait, steel, those kind of things. One of the things I like to do as well is fly fish. Now, a lot of people think when you start fly fishing this early, you're going to be pulling streamers. There's no big fly hatches going on right now. But there's more going on than most people think, than most people realize. There's still a lot of minges hatching, just very small bugs. And when they hatch, they get blown off the surface so fast that you don't even see them. But they live on the bottom by the millions. And when they start to hatch, they float up a couple feet above the bottom. And they stage there before they swim to the surface. And so those fish aren't only feeding on them, they're feeding on bait fish and stuff. But every time they go by, they'll take a swoop through. And so you can be pretty successful targeting those minges and imitating those. So what we like to do is we have a large leader where you'll figure out how deep the water is. And sometimes you'll even be able to see on like a fish finder that layer of those bugs suspended in the water. And you'll say it's 15 feet deep and all the bugs are at 12. You'll have a 12 feet leader where you'll have a little minge pattern that was a little black worm or a little red worm or something like that. And you'll suspend it under a little bobber or an indicator at that depth. And then you just let it sit there under a bobber for a little bit, and then eventually the fish will swim by and grab them.
So you're actually putting one of those little bobbers on your fly line?
Yeah. Oh, actually, it'll be under the leader.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it won't be tapered like a normal leader. It'll just be a piece of monofilament or something.
Right.
And so the problem with that is if you have a 15-foot leader and you have a bobber and you bring it up, by the time the bobber hits the top of the rod, the fish is still a long ways away.
Right.
So I use what are known as slip bobbers, where when the fish hits, the line is pulled out and the bobber can slide up and down the line freely. So you can actually, when
you're pulling,
when you set the hook, it releases the bobber and you can bring the fish right to the boat. So that allows you to use those longer leaders.
And where does somebody learn about how to do a slip bobber?
Well, you can buy them online.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
okay.
A specific kind of bobber. It's a two-piece bobber. One piece goes in the top, and the line goes all the way through the middle of it. And so it's actually on the line. And then when you're ready to use it, you pull the pieces apart, you make a loop, and then you squish the loop in between the two pieces.
Never heard of them, but what a great idea. Otherwise, you're going to miss every fish.
Right, you're going to have a hard time when the fish is 15 feet away from you.
Yeah,
and you're trying to do one of these.
Right,
it's kind of hard to get the fish in the net.
Right,
but if you can bring it right to the boat, it's great.
That's awesome.
And so when no one else is fly fishing, you can still have that opportunity to do that.
Again,
Wyatt and I fished that in Colorado, Pearl Lake, 8,000 feet of sea level for grayling.
Yeah,
and we would cast them and just let them bobbers float. And the wind would blow them, and those minges would just float on the bottom, and boom, we'd catch grayling like that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different colors, a lot of different sizes as well. See, as they slowly work their way to the surface, they're gaining air, and their shuck is splitting from their body and getting ready to molt and fly off. And so as they get close to the top, they get more and more like shimmery and silver. So when you're fishing the ones on the bottom, they're pretty much all red.
I see.
And then as they migrate to the surface, they get a little darker black, and then they get a little bit more silver. And by the time they reach the top, they're pretty much all silver. So there's a lot of different little patterns and changes. And so
will they go through that process in one day or a couple days?
A day or so.
Okay.
Yep.
and then they'll hit the surface, and if they're not eaten by a trout, they'll fly away.
Yep, and you can use them. Some days they will sit on the surface long enough if there's not enough wind.
Right.
And so it's always good to have a couple dry fly patterns for them. But a lot of times we'll fish in the subsurface like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I would never have thought. So
yeah. So that was my how-to for this month, and now we're going to turn it over to Dad for his story.
Story.
Yeah. What you got for us this month?
I don't know.
Bob, you've only had a month.
All right. You know, I worked for a paper mill for a long time, and we worked shift work. We worked all night. After a week of working nights, you'd be anxious to get out fishing. And we would, a friend of mine that just passed a little bit ago, we would fish together quite a bit. But we decided to drive to Moosehead, which is 2 hours, after working all night. And we drove to Moosehead and went fishing. We're trolling around in the lake, and it's perfectly flat. And we're fishing Murray spoons. In a Murray spoon, you want to be going so slow that the spoon doesn't spin. It just rocks. And it makes your rod go toom, like that. We're fishing for lake trout. And it's sunny, warm. Geez, pretty soon it's 85 degrees. And you sit in the boat, and you can hold the line in your hand. You don't even have to look. You feel tut, 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 tut. When it hits the bottom, you feel tut, tut, tut. You just pull it in a little bit. That's how you're right on the bottom all the time. Well, we're doing this, and we're catching a few fish, and we're sitting there, and now it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we fell asleep.
Both of you?
We both fell asleep. I don't know how long.
Well, you guys were up all night.
Yeah,
for a week.
We work nights a week, but that night we were up all night. And then it was sunny and warm and hot, maybe 85 degrees. We had an Italian on the way up, so we were,
You didn't stand a chance.
We thought we did. We were tired. We fell asleep. Son of a biscuit. The next thing you know, we hear, bang! We hit the shore. So we shut the motor off, and we said, I thought you were supposed to stay. I thought you were supposed to stay. We pulled the lines in. They're all twisted up from going around in a circle.
I don't know how long they were out there.
We don't know. We said, son of a biscuit. So we took all them apart and fixed it up and went back out. And now the wind's starting to blow. We said, well, our lead lines are all no good. Let's put on some stuff on top with streamers. We're going to troll with streamers. So we did. We rigged those all up, put the streamers out. We came around the island, Sandbar Island on Moosehead. Bam, 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 bam. Steady. I don't know how many salmon we caught. We'd just catch them and throw another one on, catch another, throw another one. So in one day, we went from hot to choppy, like a good chop. Fell asleep, hit the shore, and caught our limit and caught all the fish we wanted. So
that's a good day, Bob.
Yeah. So I'm really sad my Ben's gone, but we had a good story.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that's great, Bob. Thanks. And we just want to thank everybody for the presentation today. We thank Patrick Guyette for his input. And really get out there and go to Huntstock and check it out online. And we'll be back in June with the next edition of Maine Knows How.
Maine Knows How. Brought to you by A&G Shooting, Modern Woodmen of America, Mainly Handrails, Pine Grove Programs, and J.W. Parks Golf Course. Digital Spirit Media. Maine Knows How.